Alright, so we might have some breaking news here. It's slated that Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson may have came to an agreement. They finally come to an agreement. I don't know if this is preliminary talks or rumor or if this actually is official. But it seems like we've gotten Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. The fight date is stated to be in January, late January. I'm hearing the date of the 31st, which might be set in New York at Madison Square Garden. I'm actually happy if this fight is actually getting made. I'm actually happy that the fight is going to be stateside. Only because I don't want to watch this fight at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday and ruin my whole day just with the errands that I could get run. And just have it spent on just waiting for a fight to happen. And you know how these DAZN fights are. They will be long drawn out with a whole bunch of in-between and talk with people that we could care less to see on the card. So, this is an interesting one. Now, the card, the reason why I didn't want to talk about this fight prior to there being some kind of an announcement, because we weren't too sure what was going to happen. Teofimo Lopez, there's been a list of opponents that have been attached to his name. One being Richardson Hitchens, who's also the IBF World Champion at 140 pounds. Alongside, I'm pretty sure there were names like Manny Pacquiao was a name that Teo had thrown out there. Obviously, Shakur Stevenson. A lot of people were talking about a Keyshawn Davis fight potentially happening because we still don't know what's going to be going on with Keyshawn Davis. I might do a video on his potential fight, which could be on this undercard now, seeing that this is actually getting made. But what's interesting about this fight is it's also a fight that nobody really asked for. Now, a lot of people wanted to see the Battle of New York, the battle of the guy who's from Brooklyn, Richardson Hitchens, and the guy who claims he's from Brooklyn, Teofimo Lopez, but is actually living in Florida, and he really wasn't around Brooklyn. But that's besides the point. A lot of people wanted to see that fight, and a lot of people also wanted to see if Teo was actually going to go after Gary Antoine Russell, because remember, they all have the same names. R.I.P. to their father. He named them all Gary Russell. But Gary Russell, the one that campaigns at 140, he's also a fighter he is the WBA champion? Is he the WBA welterweight? Junior welterweight champion? I'm not too sure. I know Teo got the WBO and the ring. Hitchison got the IBF. He has to have the WBC. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm going to go look back after I record this video and post it and feel like a dumbass, but that's cool. But anyways, so I really wanted to see if Teo was going to take on the challenge. No, he's the WBA champion, and my guy from Puerto Rico is the WBC champion. I just corrected myself. Left, right hook. Anyways, so I wanted to see if he was going to face any one of the other champions to unify the title. Teo claims that he was undisputed in 2 divisions. I don't get how you're undisputed in 2 divisions when you've only collected 1 belt, and at the previous division you only collected 3 belts, and that WBC food stamp championship that he won from Lomachenko was not the real belt. Well, it wasn't the real belt anyway, so that doesn't matter. So the thing that was interesting about this division was it was hot. It actually had some type of namesake to it, and it had people with deep pedigrees. Richardson Hitchens is a Olympian. He faced off against Gary Russell in the Olympics and lost to him. So you have 2 Olympians there. You have I forget the dude from Puerto Rico's name. I got the laptop right here. I might as well just look it up. Just so that I could be clear, because I really don't want to fumble the bag and mess up anybody's name. WBC. How in the hell could I forget Subriel Matias' name? Anyways, it's Subriel Matias. So, Subriel Matias had pressed Teofimo Lopez as well at a fight. I'm thinking it was the Fondura fight. He pressed him, and we thought that we were actually going to get that fight because Subriel Matias had been brought up and attached to Teofimo Lopez for 2 fights now One when he held the IBF title, and then now currently with the WBC. Right after he won, he walked up to Teofimo Lopez, pressed him. There's rumors that he slapped him, gave him the thunderclap, backhand, and Teo didn't do anything about it. Shakur Stevenson pressed Teo about fighting him, and somehow this fight got made. Like I said, this is all a rumor. It's breaking news. It's a rumor report. We don't know if this is official, so forgive me. I'm just going off of what I'm hearing and what I'm actually seeing on Twitter and what's gaining tractions. There's headlines, all of that stuff. So we wanted to see if he was going to actually unify. Now, don't get me wrong. I give all credit to Shakur for wanting to make this fight, and wanted to, challenge himself in another weight class. Now, the thing is this. If Shakur Stevenson wins the title now, does he stay at 140 and campaign there in order to fight Africa, who's Richardson Hitchens, somebody who's known to have a relationship with, he's cool with? They came up together in amateurs, on again, off again friendship, who knows? Does he challenge the other guys, or does he fight his other friend, Keyshawn Davis? So that's going to be interesting too if he wins. Does Teo now, right? Let's say Teo wins. Does Teo stay at 140 and unify with a Richardson Hitchens, Sabrina Matias, Gary Russell, or does he move up to welterweight? Because remember, just 4 months ago, it was rumored that Teofimo Lopez, actually it wasn't rumored, Teofimo Lopez was calling out Jerron Boots Ennis. 2 years ago, he called out Terrence Crawford. And he has hinted that he wanted to challenge himself and move up to the 147-pound division. So this is what kind of gets on my nerves with boxing. Although this is an intriguing matchup. It seems like it's a one-off, and it's a fight that nobody actually asked for. And this is what gets us teed off in boxing, because the fights that we actually want to see, we never get them. And the fights that we could care less about, where it seems like, I'm not trying to play my guy Shakur, where it seems like the guy is just trying to dare to be great in order to avoid the food that's on his plate in his own division. Now, I can't think off the top of my head at 135 who Shakur Stevenson would actually be avoiding. I don't think Shakur Stevenson is avoiding a Mortaya Andy Cruz winner. I don't see it. Shakur's been begging to fight Gervonta Davis, so we know he's not avoiding him. And I don't know who else is a champion. With the WBO, I think is vacant as far as I know. So I really just feel like Shakur is looking for the biggest opportunity out there. And to be honest, in his position, from his standpoint, I'm all for it, because he's the guy that's actually moving up. It's this guy right here who I look at and say, well, who are you trying to fight? You're going to be fighting a guy that's moving up to... And listen, in boxing, that's happened plenty of times before. Marvin Hagler made a career out of it, but the guys that he was fighting, they were legit dogs. And they really had the gumption in them, and they fought through weight classes to get to Marvin Hagler. There was nothing for Marvin Hagler at 168 at the time, and it didn't serve him to move down at 154 because that wasn't a real glamour division. They kind of had to move up to the glamour division, which was middleweight, to get their feet wet and to get that bread. So let me know what you guys think of this matchup. Remember, I forgot to say it in the beginning of the video, but like, subscribe, and share with everybody that you know. I'm going to be back at you with another one. Peace.